What's happening, folks? I'm Mitch Smith, and welcome to another episode of Thursday Night Theory and Ear Training for Guitar. Tonight's lesson will be on the relative minor, and we're going to look at a few different things about it. What is the relative minor? How do we find the relative minor? Why is it relative? And how it's commonly used in music. Okay, so first things first, in episode 1 we did the major scale. Episode 2 we did the minor scale. Episode 3 we used those scale degrees like the 1, 4, and 5 to make triads and ultimately chords. Episode 4 we used those scale degrees and built chords off various scale degrees to create chord progressions like a 1, 4, 5, and so on. And tonight we're going to be building on that by adding the 6th chord in there. And that's the chord built off the 6th scale degree of the key you're in, not like a 6th chord. Okay, so there's a difference there. So in the key of G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's going to be an E. But we can do an E minor down here. So how do we easily find that? Do we always count up 6? Well, for me, it's always been easier to count down from 8. So let's look at the scale linear for a minute here. Let's just take the G scale. If you remember, we went whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. That was your major scale. So let's start at G. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So your last 3 notes were la, ti, do. Okay, so if that's 8 or 1, but we're going to call it 8 right now, we're going to count backwards to 6. 8, 7, 6. So that's an easier way for me to find the relative minor. It's always whatever key you're in this case G, drop it a half step and then a whole step and build a chord off that, a minor chord. Right, so what makes it relative? Why is it the relative minor and not just, how is that different from the 2 chord? Because we use that 2 chord quite a bit. Why is the 2 not relative? Why is the 6 chord the relative minor? Well, for one, if we had an E minor scale and we named the notes in that scale, they would be the same notes that are in the G major scale. Let's try it out. There should be one sharp. It's an F sharp. So let's just name the notes. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Alright, now let's just run our E minor scale. We should have the exact same notes. We should have one sharp, F sharp. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. So that adds up. Let's just to prove that theory one more time, let's just look at let's look at it in D major. Okay, D major should have 2 sharps. Let's check it out. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. So we did have 2 sharps in there, an F sharp and a C sharp. So let's run our B minor scale, see if that adds up. Because how do I get E minor? Right, if we're in D, we take it down. half step to 7, because that's 8, 7, 6. Root, half step down, whole step down. So B is going to be our relative minor. So let's see. B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, 2 sharps, C sharp and F sharp. So that adds up. And if you checked all of them, you would keep coming to the same conclusion. So a good example of that, and we'll go ahead and get right into how this is used in music, so just some examples. If you're a CCR fan and you know Who'll Stop the Rain, the intro starts on G. So I went G, walk it down to E minor. And here's just a little bonus. I'm holding that G up here. That does not change that E minor chord. Because if we remember from our triads, the 3 notes that make an E minor chord are E, G, and B. So by having that G here, doesn't change that chord. Okay, what else? Freebird is a real common progression. And so if you think of those first three, the first little walk down. So that should tip your ear off. If you're ever listening to music and you think you might hear the relative minor, imagine being able to hear that walk down. And if it's that, then it's maybe the relative minor. Another common chord progression, Stand By Me. And it uses the 4, the 5, back to 1. Okay? So let's just use the walk down the 8-7-6 method to find that relative minor in all of our guitar-friendly keys, our C, A, G, E, and D. So we've already done G. Let's do A. So for A, half step down, whole step down. So I want to build a bar chord there. Now, so that was an F sharp. Does that add up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp. Yes, that does. All right, so what would the next one be? C, right here. This one's kind of an easy one that you hear a lot. You may have already used in several songs. So we're in C. Walk down a half step. Now a whole step brings us to the open A. Build a chord on that. We got A minor. So, it's just for fun, add that up. A, or C, D, E, F, G, A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that adds up. Next would be D. We already did the one in D. Last one would be E. So let's look here. Alright, so now if we're in the open E, we can't very well walk down from there because it's the open string. So we can come to this E at the 7th fret, or it may be easier to come to this E at the 12th fret because you know that's the same as the open string. So E, now what is that note? That's going to be a C sharp. So again, we have to make a bar chord. We're going to use this finger as a capo, but this C sharp is our root note. So we're going to use that finger as a capo, and otherwise, with these 3 fingers, make an A minor chord. Okay? So let's see if that sounds right. Sounds right. Yes. So watch this. If we do an open E this way, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that brought us right to that C sharp. Alright. So let's just do a real common chord progression that you're going to hear in a lot of popular music that uses the 1, the 4, the 5, and the 6. And let's put it in this order. Let's go 1, 5, 6, 4. So in G, that's G, D, E minor, C. So, all right. That's a wagon wheel. I heard that right off the top of the gate. It's tons of other things as well. So let's put that in the key of A. So in the key of A, 1, 5, 4, 6 is going to be A, E, F sharp, D. If we turn those into power chords, we got glycerine. But let's do it in open chords. Okay, what else? That was A, let's do C. So in C we have C, G, A. You know what that one is? F. Okay. What would be the last one? I guess that's about it, isn't it? We've done G, A. We haven't done E. Okay. So in E, E is 1, A is 4. Oh, we're looking for 1 and 5. So E is 1, B is 5, C sharp is 6, A is 4. Alright. And here's just a little extra something for free here. You can take and play this chord, leaving your first 2 strings open, and move it around and get a really cool sound, big guitar sound. Alright, so now let's do a little bit of ear training doing this. I'm going to play some chord progressions, and you decide whether, what order the chords are in. I'm going to use the 1, 4, 5, and 6, but I'm going to mix them up. You're going to have to listen. I'll play each one 3 times, and then I will tell you the answer. Okay, here it goes. I'm going to be doing them in different keys too, so it won't always be the same key. And I may not always start with the 1 chord. Okay, if you said 1, 6, 5. You were correct. All right, let's do another one. So use the minor first that time. So if you said 6, 1, 4, you were correct. Let's do something a little different here. Okay. That one was in E with those cool chords I showed you. And if you said it was 1, 5, 6, 4, that was correct. Let's do one more. That one was a little different. Don't hear that one very often. That was a 1, 4, 6, 4. All right, so there's your little theory and ear training lesson for this Thursday. Hope you got something out of it. Feel free to leave some comments, give me some suggestions, questions, and like and subscribe. And as always, tune in next week to Thursday Night Theory. Thank you.